books is in. The books are in. Yep. They in. They're here.
Log in to KofiPaisaTV.com and get Spears of the Mossy Volume 1 by Kofi Paisa Research Team, from Spears the Pen Volume 2 by Kofi Paisa Research Team, Spiritual Combat Volume 3 by Kofi Paisa Research Team, One Night Before Bed by Any Harret Shun Calfunny, Kalawa's Trip to the Motherland by Kofi Paisa, From Cocaine to Consciousness by Any Harret Shun Calfunny, As I Learned, We All Learn by Kofi Paisa. Also, if you want fresh merch, go to our online store, Family Connect Apparel, and get all the brands. Also, get our 54 deck of quiz and educational cards available now on KofiPaisaTV.com.
ETM Hotel, Rennie Sean. Welcome in peace. My name is Sean. I'd like to thank everybody for tuning into Science with Sean. I hope everybody had having a good day. It's your Friday. You might be working. You might be off. You might just be waking up from a hangover, a hot day, intimate breakfast, brunch, whatever. I don't know what you got going on, but whatever you're doing, you know what I'm saying? Hopefully you tuned in to Science with Sean. Please like the show, share the show. Tell a friend. Let everybody know we live, man. We about to get it in. So today we're gonna deal with just some nice little easy work, understanding the data and misrepresentation by anti-vaxxers. This is key because you will see a lot of statistics or data thrown around without any explanation. And without fully understanding an article or a source, you will misinterpret the data and it may lead you to a faulty conclusion. All right. So, I do want to give a shout out to Pure, Double Law, Stacy was good, Nunu from West Africa, what's going on? What up, Chill? What up, Dave B? What's good with everybody, man? Hopefully everybody cool. And to everybody that'll catch the replay. As you can see, Chavis, he working. Satepara, he don't never show up. Kofi up, but he don't rock with me. He too busy doing, what Kofi do. And Sutek, T'Challa, MIA. You know what I'm saying? So just bear with me one moment. And let me get this thing out and then we'll get going. 1 second. All right, so now I got the link out. I don't know who's gonna join in or whatever, but I'm gonna kind of reverse the show. Usually with a show dealing with misinformation and misrepresentation, I usually lead with the latest bullcrap or a circling cycle of information. This time I'm gonna turn the tables a little bit and I'm gonna go in a different direction so that if people start to come in the middle of things, then we're going to deal with the claim and all that stuff on the back end, and they'll be able to catch that. For people who will catch it live, people that'll watch the replay, You know, just have to be tuned in. I'm not going to stretch it and make it beyond an hour. What up, Coach? Beyond an hour-ish. I'm going to keep it bite-sized where people can digest it. Please, y'all, as you come in, like the show, share the show. Double R said, don't mess with me, Sean. I'm reading Netter Clinical Anatomy 4th edition. Yeah, you don't know what you want. Netter. All right. Okay, so let me go ahead and share my screen, man. I don't know if Mother Malcolm will be available. I know he's working today, but or anybody else, I don't know. Unc might say something a little bit later. So we're seeing this article right here thrown around a lot. You'll see this on Unc page. You'll see that the Novin dude, the fake social media scientist guy, sitting from the armchair of his couch, arguing with Unc all day. You'll hear him use this article. 4,115 fully vaccinated have been hospitalized or died with breakthrough COVID-19 infections. You'll also see them say 4,115 people have died from breakthrough infections. Now, just based on the title alone, you're under the impression that 4,115 fully vaccinated people have been hospitalized or died with breakthrough COVID-19 infections. But what the article is not explaining in conjunction with that is, what about the unvaccinated people? How many of them have been hospitalized and have died? Remember, well, I'm not gonna jump the gun. So we're gonna go into this bill real slow, and then I'm gonna walk y'all through where we're gonna go. So I'm gonna play the senior contributor's words for the article listed below. I'm not gonna read it. I'm gonna let him read it to us. It's only 4 minutes, so bear with us.
CDC, 4,115 fully vaccinated have been hospitalized or died with breakthrough COVID-19 infections. Here is yet another reminder that COVID-19 vaccines are not like gigantic concrete full-body condoms. Concrete condoms, in general, are a bad idea, and fully vaccinated does not mean perfectly protected against COVID-19.
Just a quick word from our sponsor.
Whether your team is headed back to the office, staying most...
Man. So I'm gonna let this ad play. I know I should have read it on my own. I don't even want to listen to this dude no more. So I'm gonna go on. So, all right, according to the CDC, there have already been 4,115 reported cases of fully vaccinated people being hospitalized or dying with COVID-19 coronavirus infection. All right, so that we know of. Now, that's as of June 21, 2020, nearly half, 49% of the cases have been female. A little over 3/4, 76% have been 65 years or older. See, this is what people don't know. All right, 76% of the 4,000 people have been 65 years and older. Right? Now, yesterday we talked about natural killer cells or new killer cells. Right? And I mentioned age. There's a reason why the older you get, the less likely your natural or new killer cells will help prevent, and viruses are able to evade and hide in places that it's able to hide out in. It's because of age. Simply that. Now, let's go on a little further. There were a total of 3,907 hospitalizations, 750 deaths among those who had breakthrough infections, although not all of the hospitalizations may have been due primarily to COVID. That's a key point. Although not all hospitalizations may have been due primarily to COVID. As I've described previously in the Forbes article, breakthrough infections is when a fully vaccinated person still gets infected with COVID-19 coronavirus, otherwise known as severe acute respiratory syndrome, SARS-CoV-2. Now, the 4,115 number does not represent all breakthrough infections that have happened. They are just reported cases where hospitalizations or death happen to occur. Back in April, the CDC stopped keeping track of all reported breakthrough infections, choosing instead to focus going forward just on those in which hospitalizations or deaths were involved. That's critical to know. Therefore, the 4,115 is the only tip of the Kardashian, so to speak, meaning that it's only what's being obvious and getting attention. The actual total number of breakthrough infections is higher, although it isn't really clear how much higher. Let me pause. Now, the vaccines for mRNA vaccines are 94 and 95 or 95 and 96% infectious. So there's a 0.5% chance, meaning that if we have a population of 150 million vaccinated, then we're going to see around 9 million breakthrough infections. What's being discussed on social media has nothing to do with unvaccinated people. Why am I saying this? Because the primary focus is only on the vaccinated people and not the unvaccinated people. This is an agenda that is being pushed or orchestrated by anti-vaxxers looking to say, see, look, there's breakthrough infections. But there's always been a history of breakthrough infections. So the logic in the argument is detrimental for the progress of vaccinating people who are on the fence. What they're not telling you is that 99.5% of the people that have died in the last 6 months or hospitalizations have been unvaccinated people. So the bulk of those people are 99.5%. The 0.5 would be that small percentage of people who have had a breakthrough infection and then has been hospitalized or died. And now that we know the bulk of that are people over the age of 65. The higher number are people above the age of 65. Let's continue. Now, regardless, let's put the 3,907 hospitalizations and 750 deaths in proper perspective. Over 4,000 may sound like a large number when counting something like the number of Marmots in your bed. Certainly, any death is tragic, but consider the fact that over 150 million people in the U.S. have already been fully vaccinated. So let's do a quick calculation, right? He's so funny. He goes on to say, let's use your fingers and toes, and we'll reveal that 4,115 cases constitutes less than 0.003% of all fully vaccinated people in the U.S. Compare that with the measured effectiveness of the COVID-19 vaccine, which has ranged from about 70% to 95+%. That means that at least 5% of the time, a vaccine may not be able to prevent COVID-19 after exposure to a virus. As I have emphasized before, nothing in life is perfect, with the possible exception of avocado toast. Yeah, straight layman, yo, straight layman. So I'm gonna stop right there because a point has been made. And I want to re-emphasize the point because we'll have a pseudo-sophisticate on Facebook or arguing in Unc's chat, or we'll go live in Montgomery, Alabama, and talk crap about a vaccine. But then when he's provoked with an opportunity to present his argument scholastically, he comes up with excuses. So shout out to Coach Homeboy. You know what I'm saying? I want to do that one for Coach. Shots fired. Pow, pow. Now, therefore, he says, now I ain't even got to go back to that. Regardless, let's put the 3,907 hospitalizations and 750 deaths in proper perspective. Over 4,000 may sound like a large number when counting something like the number of Marmots in your bed. But let's go even further than that. Let's take the 750 deaths and calculate that by 150 million people. you're going to have to add a 0.00003%. You're going to have to, well, you're going to have to add another 0%, another 0 in front of the 3. So it's going to be 0.0003. And then that means the means of people dying is going to be less than 5%, is going to be around 2 point something or 3.2 on the low end of that. It's really going to conscrew the numbers. Right? We're not demeaning the people that have transitioned and things of that nature, but we expect deaths. People just don't stop dying because an mRNA vaccine exists. People don't stop having sex just because a vaccine exists. That means babies are going to be born and people are going to transition. It is the way of the world, and it always has been, before a pandemic, during a pandemic, after a pandemic. People are going to continue to act like adults. People are still going to be ignorant. People are still going to be at fault for something. People are going to run stop signs, red lights, not have seatbelts on. People going to do drive-by shootings, robberies that lead to murders. People still going to shoot up dope. People still going to pop pills. You know what I'm saying? Have these overdoses. Their heart going to bust. All that reality does not stop. But the primary focus from anti-vaccine social media scientists is that, see, 4,000 breakthrough infections, but they don't ever do the math. It's over 150 million fully vaccinated people, and you're trying to bring me 0.003%, less than 5% of the population, when the real number should be 9 million, 10 million breakthrough infections. We should see a much larger proportion of deaths. But we got 750 deaths out of 4,115 breakthrough infections that either resulted in hospitalization or death. 750 deaths. This we know. And the deaths aren't related to the vaccine. The deaths are related to breakthrough infection, which means that the Delta variant has won in those much older crowds, because the people that was the most, 76% of the people have been 65 years and older. So dealing with this number right here, 76% are 65 and older. And half of them were females, which is sad. So let's go to CDC and see what the CDC is actually saying about breakthrough cases. All right. So vaccine breakthroughs is expected. COVID-19 vaccines are effective and are a critical tool to bring pandemic under control. However, no vaccine is 100% effective at preventing illness in vaccinated people. There will be a small percentage of fully vaccinated people who still get sick, are hospitalized, or die from COVID-19. More than 157 million people in the United States have been fully vaccinated as of July 6th. Like with other vaccine breakthrough cases will occur even though the vaccines are working as expected. Asymptomatic infections among vaccinated people will also occur. There is some evidence that vaccinations may make illnesses less severe for those who are vaccinated and still get sick. Current data suggests that COVID-19 vaccines authorized for use in the United States offer protection against SARS-CoV-2 variants currently circulating in the US. However, variants will cause some vaccine breakthroughs. We talked about that yesterday, right? Then they want to talk about what the CDC is doing, but all of the rest of that is irrelevant to me. At this point, this information is information that you can look at. See again, Hospitalization of fatal vaccine breakthrough cases are up 5186. Female, 2000, well, 50% now female, but look at the age. 75% of the people, 3903, 75%. 65 and older, asymptomatic, 20%. Hospitalizations, 95%. Deaths, 19% of that number. But what we're arguing here, see, I updated the science on y'all. I went from 4115 to 5186. What we're dealing with is fully vaccinated people. Do your math. Divide 5,186. I like avocado. I like egg white, avocado, and spinach. Why you trying to be funny? Them be the dope sandwiches. Listen, avocado, egg white, and spinach on the right toast. You in there. 5186 divided by 157 million. So let's do that real quick. And you get 0.0003. That's the breakthrough number. 0.0003. Right? So that's the breakthrough number. Now let's take 988 deaths divided by that same 157 million. That is 0.000006. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros after the decimal, and then 6. Do 988 divided by 157 million, and you get 0.000006. Now, that's the math on that. So if 99% of the deaths are from unvaccinated people, now you see why. But they're not talking about that. Remember, all the focus and attention is on the vaccinated people. Before that, it was don't get vaccinated, don't get vaccinated, don't get vaccinated. Now you have 157 million people vaccinated, and now it's look at all these people. No, it's not all these people. There's a country town that has more population than that has a larger population than 5,186. Country towns, backwoods. So this is not, it's not a huge number, but they're arguing as if it's a gigantic number, right? Facebook lets you have 5,000 Facebook friends. So it's only 186 more Facebook friends. I mean, more people than Facebook will allow as far as your friends. So that's one person with the ability to have 5,000 Facebook friends. That's the only correlation that you could actually have that would make sense to someone trying to make a silly argument. But Facebook got billions of people, right? But if you're going, but let's just deal with the US only. In the broader scale of things, we don't even have the data on unvaccinated people. Like, we know that almost 160 are vaccinated. We know what the population size is, right? So let's go, let's do this simple. Let's keep it simple. Let's see what we got here. All right, so now do your math. Do your math, because there was a social media nurse on page talking about There's more people that's unvaccinated than vaccinated. So 331, 449, 281. Now we're not specific. Now let's see how many. We know at least 180 they got at least one vaccine. As of July 7th, at least one dose, right? So let me clear out. Who want to do the math, man? This how the pseudos be tricking people on the post. People don't want to do the math. So you got 100. See, I'm gonna be more specific. 158, 287, 566 divided by 331, 449, 281. Right? So they're saying that 48% of the population has been fully vaccinated. We see that math right there on the screen. And to back that up, the calculation did that. Now let's go 183, 237, 046. 55.8% of the population has at least one dose of the vaccination. The target is 70%. They're still vaccinating people every day. Don't get it twisted. With this new Delta variant, you're going to see unvaccinated people get sick, severely get sick, especially if they're smokers. They're going to get sick. Some of them are going to have further complications. There's going to be bigger issues. Why? Because the Delta variant is more transmissible, right? And can escape the immune system, not all parts of the immune system, which means your natural killer cells can't get rid of everything. And the older you are, the more susceptible you are. But now we've seen that the older population is vaccinated, so these vaccine deaths and these these are not vaccine deaths, I'm sorry, but these unvaccinated deaths and unvaccinated hospitalizations are targeting those that are like 50, 40, 30, 20, teens, preteens. And hospitalizations are increased because of that. So let's move on to the next one. Yes, over 44. I don't have to do this because I just went through the CDC and gave you the more updated. But yes, over 44 fully vaccinated people have been hospitalized with COVID-19. All right, and they talk about breakthrough infections, but let's peep the video. We ain't gonna play that. And this was published and updated on July. So we're gonna get some information.
Vaccination numbers decline, but infection numbers continue to rise. Concern is growing over breakthrough COVID-19 infections. Are people who've gotten the vaccine still contracting serious bouts of the virus? Let's verify. B11 Verify viewer Marina Everett asks, is it true that 4,115 fully vaccinated people have been hospitalized or died with breakthrough COVID-19 infections? Our sources, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and the Arkansas Department of Health. First, let's define a breakthrough infection. According to the CDC, a vaccine breakthrough infection is the detection of COVID-19 in a person 14 days or more after they have completed all recommended doses of their COVID-19 vaccine. As of April 30th of this year, a total of 10,262 COVID-19 vaccine breakthrough infections had been reported from 46 U.S. states and territories. A little more than 4,400 patients with the infection were hospitalized, and 879 of them died. totaling 4,686 patients with a COVID-19 vaccine breakthrough infection who were hospitalized or died. As of July 7th, Arkansas has reported 1,902 breakthrough cases, 68 hospitalizations of breakthrough cases, and 7 confirmed deaths of breakthrough cases. The CDC says vaccine breakthrough cases will happen, even though the vaccines are working as expected. But the CDC confirms it is leading multiple vaccine effectiveness studies to make sure COVID-19 vaccines are working. Officials are also working with state and local health departments to investigate COVID-19 infections among young people who received the vaccine and identify patterns or trends. So we can verify, yes, it is true. More than 4,600 fully vaccinated people have been hospitalized or died from breakthrough COVID-19 infections. Remember, if you have something you want verified, let us help. Email us.
All right, so now they didn't go into the specifics as the Forbes article, but in this article, they deal with this. As of April 30th of this year, a total of 10,000 vaccine breakthroughs have been reported, 46 states. And then they go through and run down the numbers and go through all of that, right? And then they come through and just end it pretty much right there. Now, what we did was we just went a little bit step further. What we're trying to understand is why we focused on this math, right? The CDC updated 5186. Out of the 5186, 50% of them were female, 75% were over the age of 65, 20% were asymptomatic infections, 95% were hospitalizations, and 19% resulted in deaths out of the 5186. But put a mask, when you do the math, compared to 157 million fully vaccinated people, the math dwindles down to 0.00006. Okay? There was like 5 zeros in front of the 6, right? And then what you don't see is the math on the unvaccinated population, right? Since there's 48% of the country is fully vaccinated, and then you have 180 million total, which would be 55% of the U.S. being vaccinated. So that means you have a 40-something percent, 44 point something percent of the population that's still not vaccinated or potentially getting ready to be vaccinated, a large majority of them. But these people are allowing what we call breakthrough infections to occur, deaths to increase, because they're going to represent the large portion of the people who die. They're going to represent the large portion of the people who are hospitalized. They're going to represent the large portion of people who continue to have new variants, mutate and adapt and adjust, evade the immune system, and do all of those things. They're going to be the reason why potentially in maybe 2 years, 3 years, who knows? It's not going to be after a year. It's not going to be a year, or it's not going to be every 6 months, or it's not going to be every 8 months, or it's not going to be every 11 months. Maybe every few years that you'll need a booster shot because you'll still have a small percentage. Now, that 40-something percent, that 44% of the population, when that number dwindles, if that number can get down before September, that number dwindles down, then the likelihood of new variants taking over, mutating, adapting, adjusting, and things of that nature doesn't exist. COVID is going to be around, but it's going to be the unvaccinated and the ignorant that does that. Now, I do not believe in 44. I do not believe that 44% of the U.S. is against being vaccinated. What I believe is that the majority of the 44% of the people that have not gotten the vaccine yet are waiting on the BLA, full authorization, right? They're hesitant because of not all of them are hesitant because of misinformation. Most of them are driven by misinformation. But you get 30 or 40 million, you get 30 million people vaccinated. You change the pendulum in the other way. So our job is to make sure that we properly educate people. Remember, anti-vaxxers are only using vaccinated data. They're only using scientific data. There's no data in support of why you should be why you shouldn't get a vaccine. Think about that. No one has put that on the table. No one has addressed why shouldn't we get the vaccine? What's the alternative? We've asked that question over and over, and no one has presented an alternative. And yes, the CDC says hold up on the booster shots. You had people talking about, yeah, you're going to need booster shots, but yeah, they're like, nah, we don't need no booster shots. Why? Because we're seeing, even in the Delta variant, that it's really not affecting a lot of people the way that it is, but there's an expected number of people that should be. And we now know, based on the science, that the likelihood are going to be in people over the age of 65. So let's go on to a little study here. Prevention and attenuation of COVID-19 with the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines. So I'm not going to bore you to death with this. This study is from December 2020 to April 2021. It involved almost 4,000 healthcare personnel. Remember, we've done this before, but we have to keep bringing this out because this was a trial that was done to like understand what was going on. So I'm going to give you the results again of the actual study. SARS-CoV-2 was detected in 204 participants. That's 5% of whom were fully vaccinated 14 days after dose 2, 11 partially vaccinated, and 156 unvaccinated. The 32 participants with indeterminate vaccination statuses were excluded. Adjusted vaccine effectiveness was 91%, with full vaccinated was 81%, with partial vaccinated. So full vaccination was 91%. Partial vaccinated was 81. Among the participants with SARS-CoV-2 infection, the mean viral RNA load was 40% lower in partially or fully vaccinated participants than in unvaccinated participants. In addition, the risk of febrile symptoms was 58% lower, and the duration of illness was shorter, with 2.2 fewer days spent sick in bed. Conclusion: authorized mRNA vaccines were highly effective among working age adults in preventing SARS-CoV-2 infection when administered in real-world conditions. And the vaccines, the viral load, the RNA viral load, risk of febrile symptoms, and duration of illness among those who had breakthrough infections despite vaccinations. So remember, when they did this originally in December to April, they were looking for the breakthrough number. The breakthrough number from the small sample size was 5%. Now that we get into the real world, we deal with the real world breakthroughs, the number is still at 5%. So the math, the science, all of that good stuff is still adding up. It's all adding up. Now, U.S. COVID-19 cases rise mostly among unvaccinated officials, right? So what I want to do here is I want to play a clip from the White House, just to get people up to par. Yeah, you know, you need to go to whitehouse.gov. They be having some information on there where you can get it off. I'm gonna mute it out because they're gonna play the sound. I'm gonna bring it back in here in just a second. My bad. Hold up.
Reported a little over 14,000 new cases of COVID-19. Our 7-day average is about 13,900 cases per day. And this represents an increase in cases of nearly 11% from the prior 7-day average. The 7-day average of hospital admissions is about 2,000 per day. This also represents an increase of about 7% from the prior 7-day average. And the 7-day average of daily deaths is about 184 per day. These numbers and what we are seeing across the country reveal two truths about the current state of the pandemic. On the one hand, we have seen the successes of our vaccination program over the last 8 months, with cases, hospitalizations, and deaths far lower than the peaks we saw in January. And yet, on the other hand, we are starting to see some new and concerning trends. Simply put, in areas of low vaccination coverage, cases and hospitalizations are up. Meanwhile, the Delta variant is spreading rapidly throughout the country. This week, the Delta variant is estimated to be the most prevalent variant in the United States, representing over 50% of sequenced samples across the country, up from 26% from the week ending June 19. Although we expected the Delta variant to become the dominant strain in the United States, this rapid rise is troubling. We know that the Delta variant has increased transmissibility, and it is currently surging in pockets of the country with low vaccination rates. We also know that our authorized vaccines prevent severe disease, hospitalization, and death from the Delta variant. And these results have been observed not just here in the United States, but in other countries as well. Of course, widespread vaccination is what will truly turn the corner on this pandemic.
All right, so there we go on that. So let me just go a little bit further, and that's pretty much the breakdown of what she's giving. Now, the U.S. COVID-19 cases are up 11% over the previous week, almost entirely among people who have not been vaccinated. All right, so that's what they said on Thursday. Highly infectious Delta variant is the cause. Around 93% of COVID cases in recent days have occurred in counties with vaccination rates of less than 40%. This is based on the CDC data. Now, preliminary data from the recent months is 99.5% of COVID deaths have occurred in unvaccinated people, she added. Simply put, in areas with low vaccination coverage, cases and hospitalizations are up. The CDC earlier this week said the Delta variant would be the dominant strand. We ain't got to, go behind what she's saying. I'm just trying to go back and give you that. Now, one second. Let me go to I'm going to go to the actual White House website in a minute. But the White House is also working to make COVID vaccines available at doctors' offices around the country. Okay, that's a good thing. So now we know that that's going on. But that's where we are with that. Okay, so let's go to the White House. Now this is it's real cool to always go to the briefing, but when was the last one right here? All right, so it's always cool to go to the White House. I'm finna show y'all why. So here's the look, CDC briefing, right? The PDF. They give you the PDF. This is exactly what she showed on the case. Now, because we really couldn't see too much of her screen, we can look at it a little bit better on my screen. There you go. 110% zoom. Everything look good on our end. And Richard, people don't care about the unvaccinated. Apparently, nobody's publishing data on unvaccinated people. They're only publishing data on fully vaccinated people. Although they know that unvaccinated people exist, all the data that anti-vaxxers and vaccine hesitancy people are worried about is regarding the vaccinated people. Why? Because you have almost 158 million, almost 160 million people vaccinated. And you can see in a real world that this vaccine is doing X, Y, and Z. It answers more questions that unvaccinated people can't. All right, so 14,000 new cases reported on the 6th. On the 6th, okay? Case reported since last year is 33 million. All right, so it's up 10.8%. That's what she said. New admissions of patients. You see all the averages is up. From 629 to 75, you had 1,900 new cases. From 622 to 28, you had 1,864. They increasing. Look, in January was the peak average. That was the most, you know, on an average 7 day that we seen. And then after the vaccinations began to be administered, numbers dropped, but now numbers have risen as of late. Total deaths, we had 603,000 total deaths, 224 new deaths as of 7/6. We're averaging a day, listen, prior 7-day death average, 184 to 11. Forecasted total deaths by 7/31 will be 616,000 deaths. So by the end of July, they're expecting 6,000 more deaths. But it could be higher than that. Richard, you asking, I hate when you do this. All right, man. Counties with case rates below 100 to 100,000 per population, counties with case rates in populations of fully vaccinated. So they're telling us what's going on in the real world, bro. I'm not worried about unvaccinated people. Why am I worried about unvaccinated people? They don't answer questions for me, Richard. They don't answer questions for me because they represent 99.5% of the deaths and hospitalizations. So they're not answering questions. Indirect evidence for effectiveness of Johnson & Johnson against SARS-CoV-2 Delta variant. They spoke about this in the White House, the press briefing. This is why I say that. And you see Scotland, England, and then you have the percentages there. AstraZeneca said that their real world effectiveness with a booster shot from an mRNA vaccine gets it up to 90-something%. And then there's an article right here that elicits neutralizing activity against Delta and other SARS-CoV-2 variants of concern. And then humoral and cellular immune responses following the COVID-2 vaccines are here. But this is why you go there. I don't care anything else about that. So that's pretty much the press release on that. But no, I'm not shunning what you're asking, Richard. I'm just saying, man, what you're asking has really no legitimacy in this conversation because we already know that they represent the reason why these new variants exist, but they also represent 99.5% of the deaths being recorded every day. That's your data. 194 to 211 people are dying a day. And I'm going to give you the math on that. 99% of 211 people are unvaccinated that's dying. Out of the 2,000 people that are going to the hospital, 99% of the people going to the hospital are unvaccinated. Let's just sum that up. If the White House is saying, right, on a daily average, this is why we just do it this way. On a daily average, on a 7-day average, current 7-day average from 6/30 to 7/6, 13,859 new cases, 99% of the people that are representing new cases are unvaccinated people, no matter where they are per county. 99.5% of the 13,859 new cases are unvaccinated people. Out of that, or we do it like this. Current 7-day average of new admissions from 629 to 75. 1,991 of the new hospitalizations, 99% of them are unvaccinated people. Well, all of them, they knew. This is new admissions, my bad. So they all unvaccinated. Deaths from 6:30 to 7/6, 184 deaths. This is a day. That average, right? 99% of the 184 people dying a day from COVID are unvaccinated people. So we just break it down like that. That's the easiest way to answer the question, because I'm not going by counties. I'm not going by cities. I'm not going by states. I'm looking at cases reported every day, because the cases reported every day is going to tell me, is going to answer your question. How many of these people are unvaccinated? 99% of them. Because the data that we've had for the last 6 months, 99% of the people. Let's do this for Richard, y'all. I'm skipping words, but I'm just trying to get this Forbes article to come up. We just use this. It don't even matter. But there go the Forbes article. 99.5% of U.S. COVID deaths are unvaccinated people. It's troubling. All right. So nearly all of the recent deaths from COVID-19 in the U.S. have been unvaccinated individuals, according to initial data from the CDC. All right. So they want me to subscribe, so I ain't going to use it. All right. So 99.5% of the people who died from COVID over the past 6 months, they want you to subscribe, have all been unvaccinated people. I forgot they starting to want to charge people for their articles again. That's a big number, man. The AP discovered that 0.8% of COVID deaths in May were among people confirmed to be fully vaccinated. So when you go by counties, according to Dr. Walensky, 173 counties had 100 cases per 100,000 people, a worrying trend for the CDC. She said that 90% of those areas had vaccination rates of less than 40%. Following his failed attempt to get 70% eligible, then they talk about the president. I'm going to do you one even solid. I'm going to go to Maryland. What is Maryland saying? Watch what Maryland says. Maryland put out an article. Maryland put this article out. California got one out too. COVID-19 in Maryland, more than 100 new cases reported Friday. Right? During a press conference, Governor Larry Hogan said unvaccinated Marylanders account for 100% of COVID-related deaths in June. 95% of all new cases and 93% of hospitalizations. More than 3.4 million Maryland adults are fully vaccinated. State officials reported that the state positivity went up slightly to 0.82%. Hospitalizations increased to 2 to 113. Of hospitalized, 79 remain in acute care, 34 remain in ICU. Since the pandemic began, there were 462,980 confirmed cases, 9,544 deaths. 3 million fully vaccinated. They're not playing with you. They came out and told you straight up with their signs when it hit. He couldn't wait to come out and speak about this when it was mentioned. Now watch California. California has 99%. They came out and said something. Nearly 100% of LA County recent COVID deaths. So they came out and they did, they said what they said then. So we know that. So when these people are getting information like that, they're doing that for a reason. Yeah, Richard. I said that earlier. The 44% of the population increases the opportunity for a mutation, adaptation and mutation, and they create a what I want to say, an opportunity for the virus to continue to live from one person to another, right? Because there's a percentage of the population where where people you have like new hosts. See what I'm saying? So because you're not vaccinated, you scared of the mRNA vaccine. So you are a potential threat to the people around you. Unvaccinated people are a potential threat. They are a potential threat also for creating an opportunity for breakthrough infections in vaccinated people. Now let's get to the nitty gritty. I'm done in the chat. So an article was published on archive.today. It's not really a legitimate website per se, but you may see a screenshot of this article on Instagram, Facebook, other social media sites. And it only covers up this part of it or whatever and says vaccinated people found to be 600% more likely to die from COVID variants than unvaccinated people. That's what the screenshot says. And then it might have it might have this other top part in it or whatever, but it's just a screenshot. Now, in this article, they argue, look what it says, natural news. Those who have been injected with the Wuhan coronavirus are greater than 6 times more likely to die from a circulating variant like Delta than are unvaccinated people who just say no to strange experimental drugs from Tony Fauci and the government. New data published by Public Health England on Friday found that compared to non-jab people, those who took the poison for Chinese virus are far more likely to suffer excruciating death upon exposure to one of the many Wuhan flu variants that the media says are spreading. Pay close attention to how the wording in this article is emphasized. Wuhan or Chinese or Fauci or the government or you know, the jab, or, you know, there's a lot of speculative words here that would suggest that this person is insinuating something. Now, without doing further investigation, finding out who archive.fo or Archive Today is, and who the author of this article is, you can clearly see that this is an agenda that's pushed by a misinformation person. They're pretty much right-wing too, because they use, pseudo language. They use not only pseudo language, but they use right-wing language, right-wing talking points. They even do this. They say, even so, the fake news media is ratcheting up the propaganda about the spread of variants. See what I'm saying? They do all of that. Now, I ain't got time to keep on going through this, so I'm gonna hit you directly at your heart. So you fact check the claim, right? Fact check claim that vaccinated people are 6 times more likely to die from the Delta variant than those who are unvaccinated is misleading. Okay, I'm not gonna go through the whole spiel. I put this all in the chat for anybody that want to go through it. I'm just gonna go to the verdict. The whole thing missing context. Vaccinated people are not a higher risk of dying from the Delta variant than those who are unvaccinated. We just proved that with the data. The figures were taken out of context from a PHE briefing released in June. So they took some words, twisted them around, and then said what they said. So I really didn't want to go through the article like this. The reason why is because we just went through these articles that basically set this article up to be destroyed before even going to the fact checking and even dealing with the White House press release documents. Right? First of all, this is an uncredited site. So for those people who be like, how do you know? Let's just go with it. Let's look it up. What's the name of it? Archive Today. Look. Archive is alternatives and similar photos and graphics. I'm gonna go back in just a minute. Let's find out who they are. Archive Today is an archive site which stores snapshots of web pages. It retrieves one page at a time, similar to website. Then it goes on to all this other stuff. That's why it looks the way that it looks. All right. Now, it can capture individual pages in response to explicit user requests. Since it begins with archive.today, supports crawling pages and hashtags and all of those things. Okay. So it's not a credible, this is not a credible site. So how can we get the initial article? So let's look up this person. Ethan Huff. There's nothing on him when we click on his name. Muckrack. Ethan Huff is a prolific fake news reporter. Ethan Huff is a prolific fake news reporter, but does he actually, whatever, exist? Oh, wow, they're questioning his existence. So look, by the looks of it, Ethan Huff is a very busy reporter, or rather a busy poster. Content under his byline appears across various conspiracy, climate denial, and anti-vax blogs. Look at all these sites. In just the past week, Huff published stories about how climate change alarmists are working with the LGBT to depopulate the planet, how vaccines are causing polio on YouTube and other online giants are covering up the vaccine-caused polio outbreak, how 600,000 Mexicans were protesting abortion, a whole bunch of other stuff. Aside from his prolific posting, there doesn't seem to be any indication that he actually exists. Unlike most reporters, including others at some of the other outlets, we couldn't find a Twitter account associated with his name. There's also no LinkedIn accounts or Facebook profiles that fit the bill, which only one of the many sites he posts to list any contact info, such as an email address or phone number for readers to send, is criticalstudies.org, where he posts 2 stories in 2015, has a profile for him with both his picture and a contact email. We found a picture associated with his name and a reverse image comes up empty, so maybe he is real. But Huff.com is a real estate website, and his email is sent to address is asking if he is indeed a real person, bounce back indicating that the account doesn't exist. All right. Now, in the more recent fact check debunked an anti-vax story, while others debunked the climate deny story. This dude is no legitimacy to this dude. That's wow. That's interesting. So we're chasing down an author of a story who other people don't have any connection to. And then you get sites like Natural News. See? And it's still pulled up by that. These are the things that they're using to protect themselves when they make these pseudo sites. See, and this is the article where the data was misconstrued. Yep. So, yeah, man. It is what it is from there. Hey, like the show, share the show, man. I don't see it. We look a little light on the. Okay, we got a thumbs down. Shout out to Richard for thumbing the video down. Richard or Hebrew or Xavier, one of y'all. Appreciate y'all thumbing it down. What up, Too Smooth? Yeah, they twisted the wording around, but they never really analyzed the whole article. And I don't want to spend another hour going through that article or whatever. But the no, I got you, Rich. I'm just pulling your leg. You know, you be asking all the weird questions at times. But nah, man, I really don't pay too much to county to city. I just look at the overall reporting. So that's what we need to distinguish. We need to distinguish, like, if they report 1,800 new COVID cases, then we know that they're new COVID cases. That's going to be unvaccinated. If they report 1,800 deaths, then we need to figure out what percentage of those deaths are from vaccinated. But CDC reporting has been very good, very transparent on that information. So 44% of the population is really putting us at risk. So we have to do a better job of closing that gap. And if we can eliminate, if we can just get 44, if we can get that 44% down to 20%, we do a better job, a much better job at being able to control the variants and the spread of the virus, because ultimately we're worried about the infection and the spread of disease and how that can alter and change the people around you. but unvaccinated people are a threat. So if you have not had your vaccine, you are a threat to my livelihood. And I don't think that you understand that. Like, I think the other day, Kayla was in the chat. She talking about she just choose not to get the vaccine, but she has no reason why she chooses not to. She just chooses not to. She's not pro or con. But in my opinion, you are against it, because if you wasn't against it, then you would get it. But because you don't want to get it, you're showing that you are against it because of some type of doubt that you haven't acknowledged. So if I come into contact with you, you pose a threat to my livelihood and the people around me, because you're susceptible of being a carrier of a variant that is more transmissible, likely to evade the immune system and cause a problem. Just like you, Mika, you are a threat to those of us who come around you. You're a threat. Remember, because you're waiting. So while you waiting, you're a threat. You could be a carrier of a deadly, well, you can be a carrier of a potential deadly variant that could take me out, because the variant could evade my immune system. It can make me sick, weak, and kill me. Or you may infect me and I might not have no reaction to it either. And then I go around my grandmother, who's almost 90 years old and is the last eldest person that I have in my family. And I go around her and she's been vaccinated. And and then I introduce it to her and it breaks through and it takes her out. And it takes her out. And guess who caused that? Excuse me. Guess who caused that hurt, that pain for my family? Mika and Kayla. I ain't pushing. I've informed everybody. I'm telling you the truth. I'm telling you how to listen. I'm not pushing. I'm showing you exactly how the virus works. I'm giving you a real life example of how the virus works. Teddy asked everybody on here been vaccinated, press 1. If you've been vaccinated, press 1. If you haven't, press 2. I'm gonna tell you right now, Mika ain't been vaccinated. You don't understand what she's saying. How could you understand what she's saying? She never explained what she's saying. You couldn't see what she's saying. Y'all, she blocked you or whatever. So listen to what I'm saying. This is how the virus works. This is how the virus works. The virus works just like this. It finds a host who has no protection against it, and it gets in the body of the host. It will mutate and adapt inside of the host that is in until it is able to transmit to another person. When it transmits to another person, it could break through that person if it's vaccinated. That person can now go to their grandmother, grandfather, or an eldest loved one and introduce the virus to that person. What happens? If it breaks through, the potential of death. You caused that. Not me. Not me. So now you've decided that, well, I just don't want to get the vaccine right now. I'm waiting. What you waiting on? You waiting to die, or are you waiting to get sick? Which one you waiting on? You waiting to die, or are you waiting to get sick? Because if you think that you're waiting to see how it's acting in the population, it's 160 million deep. So this whole notion of, well, I'm just skeptical or I'm unsure, that's out the window because we did a whole year and a half worth of shows. We've posted thousands upon thousands worth of content. We did all of that. We did everything to inform Black people to educate Black people so that they can make an informed decision about a vaccine that they were unfamiliar with. And yet and still, we sit here and we talk about scientific literacy, historiography, methodology, and all these things that are crucial and critical in our time. We do all of these things, and then we're going to say, well, I don't know, I'm just waiting. How do you know that you don't have? All right, Mika, let me slow it down real quick, real slow. This is how a virus works, okay? You could be infected and have an asymptomatic response, like some little mild symptoms. Out of those little mild symptoms, you then can make it transmit to another person. So because you think that you don't have something doesn't mean that you have it. I'm not saying that you have it, Mika. What I'm saying are you are susceptible for transmitting the virus to people who it could potentially kill. Fix the back of your head. Once you fix the back of your head, then you can talk to me, Kofi. While you trying to fake grow some dreads. You still don't understand what I'm saying to you. And I don't know. Let me do it again. Let me do it a different way. You don't have it, Mika. But you run the risk of coming into contact with it because you're unvaccinated. Because you're unvaccinated and you may come into contact with it, you pose a threat on someone who also may not be vaccinated or could be vaccinated. Because if you come into contact with them and it's a breakthrough infection, they may come into contact with somebody who's also vaccinated and it may break through that person, but you and that person may not have no experience, no ill experiences with it. But the person that person comes into contact with could have a severe reaction that could lead to death or hospitalization. That's all I'm saying. You pose a threat. You are now a walking biological problem. Okay, you know all of this and you still choose to boy, I swear. What are we doing it for? We can't even educate our own people. But nah, man, I'm through messing with you. But that's the risk. And right now the risk has been increased. The risk actually has risen because of the Delta variant and the potential of its potential to evade the most of the immune system and be more transmissible and infectious. And, ultimately, that's just the facts. So, we vax up around here. You know what I'm saying? We promote literacy. We do our thing, so that's the only way we rock it. That's the only way we rock it. So let me do what I always do, man. Hold on 1 second for me. Boom, 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 boom. I got to keep y'all in the know. Y'all know I got to keep y'all in the know. So I'm going to drop something on y'all to keep y'all in the know. Look at her talking about leave me alone. Don't talk to me. Don't get mad now because you're getting beat up in the chat. Don't get mad. No, don't get mad. Mm-mm. No, don't get mad.
Yo, talk to me, Cleveland. Have you not had your shot yet? Really? Are you serious? I know you're worried. You're thinking this is gonna be like another Tuskegee? I get it. They've been doing black people dirty for years. So why wouldn't we be concerned this time? Here's the situation, people. In Tuskegee, they did not give us the disease, but what they didn't do was give us the cure. But by not taking this vaccine, we're Tuskegeeing ourselves. The truth is, if we don't protect ourselves, nobody will. We're at over 150 million people vaccinated. And if your doctor and your mother haven't turned into zombies by now, then you won't either. The truth, man, he got his gripped my head. Okay, that was no. He was like,
I'm trying to balance you so you can hold your head.
Jeff, I can balance my own head.
One more time, Chill. One more time for the people in the back.
Yo, talk to me, Cleveland. Have you not had your shot yet? Really? Are you serious? I know you're worried. You're thinking this is gonna be like another Tuskegee? I get it. They've been doing black people dirty for years. So why wouldn't we be concerned this time? Here's the situation, people. In Tuskegee, they did not give us the disease, but what they didn't do was give us the cure. But by not taking this vaccine, we're Tuskegeeing ourselves. The truth is, if we don't protect ourselves, nobody will. We're at over 150 million people vaccinated. And if your doctor and your mother haven't turned into zombies by now, then you won't either. The truth, man, he got his gripped my head. Okay, that was no. He was like,
I'm trying to balance you
It's
so
a
you
fact,
can hold
man.
your head.
It's a fact.
Jeff, I can balance.
It's a fact. So what you waiting on? What are we waiting on? Chill said, what are you waiting on? Chill in the chat said, Kevin MC Chill Her said, what are you waiting on? You finna pull a Tuskegee on yourself. What are you waiting on? Wow. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, man. What you waiting on? You Tuskegeeing yourself. Bars. Yep. Kofi said bars. Facts. Big facts. Yeah, man. So we ain't listening to too much of everybody else, bro. Yeah, what it is. Yeah, what it is. Yeah, what it is. So I appreciate everybody, man, for tuning in, man. Make sure you go to get Kofi book. You know, Beautiful Lessons of Kamoyo. Look for volume 4. I'm still working on my 2 books as far as having them peer reviewed and scrutinized by people. I had to rewrite chapter 4 in The Coming of Islam in Balad Al Sudan because of the critique. I had a critique And chapter 4 was a chapter that didn't meet the standard of the other chapters. So you know, I had to get that fixed. And I rewrote it. I'm waiting on some information today. I'm supposed to get some feedback today, see where I am with that. Then I can start to get the editing done for that book, and then I can put the other one under scrutiny. You know what I'm saying? Then go from there.